If you are watching the video, thank you for watching. We have a podcast called The Council every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Links in the description. Okay, so first, the New Mutants. We've been waiting for this film for 3 years, and it's finally here. But is it really here? I mean, it felt more like a trailer. Ben, you've been silent for most of this, so why don't you go first? Because I know you really like this.
You guys are so mean. Okay, I'm gonna shut
What?
up now. Was it really, or was it just a trailer?
It was just anyway. We'll get into that in a bit. Go, Ben.
All right, so I'm very glad that I get to talk about this movie because I have a feeling that I'm the only person who's going to have something positive to say about it. First, I gotta say, coming back to the local cinema was amazing. I had a great experience. The food was phenomenal. Seats were good. The film itself, I will say that, look, every single film does reshoots. Every single major blockbuster film, or even a mid-range film, they do reshoots. And I think that that's important because nobody nails it the first time. And I feel like New Mutants is proof that every film does need reshoots because you don't nail it the first time. There are certainly aspects of this film that are lackluster compared to the rest of it. I would say that, you know, it's relatively muted compared to other X-Men films. And I know that that's kind of the point of this film, but I still think that for what it is, it could have been more stylized. I think, you know, everything that they wanted to do in the reshoots is kind of every complaint that I have with the film. So I feel that it's not really this creative team's fault because it's the Disney Fox merger's fault. But I just have to say I had a really amazing time with this film. Anya Taylor-Joy was absolutely phenomenal as Magic. I would love to, maybe in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, to see her for a few seconds. I think she truly is Ilyana.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
If they are doing cameos, if Kevin Feige wants to have this match with the Flash with all the different Batman they're going to be running around, I think that
he would rather bring back Edward Norton and like that Japanese Spider-Man than bring back any of the X-Men.
And he'll never bring back Edward Norton. That's like
Yeah.
that. Like he would rather do that. Like the most you're gonna get is Tobey Maguire because Sam Raimi is directing Doctor Strange 2. That is the only thing I think he will allow that toy to come into his own playpen.
All I'm saying is I would really like it. That's all I'm saying. I think the rest of the cast was very good. I thought it was really creepy. I actually thought it was creepy. It wasn't scary, but it was creepy. I am a fan of horror films, so I got all of the references to A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, which is a horror film that I grew up on. It's really, really good. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. I think The New Mutants is probably, compared to a film that was made in the 1980s, I'd say they're probably about even. I really loved everyone in the cast. As for Blue Hunt and Henry Zaga, the two who were whitewashed, and I will say that even though they are lighter skinned than their characters in the comics, which is 110% on Josh Boone and Simon Kinberg, Lauren Schuler-Donner, and everyone who signed off on that casting decision. Putting that aside, I had to judge these two actors and what they actually did, and I think they were. Henry Zaga is an actor who I do like. He just wasn't used a lot here, but he was very good. And I thought Blue Hunt is the heart of the movie. She was phenomenal. Overall, I really loved The New Mutants. I thought it was great, and I do wish that they got to do the reshoots because that would have made it all the more better. That would have kind of fixed some of the issues I have with it, which is not enough horror, just not enough. I needed more. I needed to get to know these people more. I needed more of these characters. I needed more of this world. So I would probably give it about a 7, but I think with the reshoots, I think they would have turned it up even more. So that's my thoughts.
Should be noted just really quick. I think Lauren Schuler-Donner is attached to these movies by contract. She has not worked on like any of them for years. The only reason I bring that up is because when Dark Phoenix came out and people started attacking her because the movie was so bad, she was like, "I am not a part of this. Do not blame me. It's just contract." So,
but she did find Kevin Feige though.
They what?
She did
find Kevin
definitely
Feige.
Like early. Like 2000s, like when this first started, she was definitely pivotal. But now, in the wasteland of Fox X-Men movies, I
thought Dark Phoenix, I thought New Mutants, I think they're all solid. So you can come at me for that. I think they're solid.
I will fight you on that.
Like, I will give you Dark Phoenix has its moments, and I feel like Dark Phoenix
Really?
wasn't justly
No.
tortured.
That was the
What
worst
world-
one.
No,
What movie did
Not
you
the worst.
watch?
this was worse. This was worse than Dark Phoenix.
This was
No, it
worse?
wasn't.
This
No,
was
it
worse than Dark
wasn't.
Phoenix.
No,
I'm
it
sorry.
wasn't.
Dark Phoenix had its bad moments, but overall, in comparison to the rest of the X-Men films, it wasn't as bad. I don't think it was as bad as Last Stand. It wasn't as bad as
X-Men 3.
the
Apocalypse.
the Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
It was. What's the other bad one?
Apocalypse.
No, I like
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse as well. To be fair, I like the X-Men films. The only ones I think are bad are this
What
one.
the hell is the matter with all of you? Like, did
The hell
we
is the matter
watch
with
the
you,
same?
Anthony?
I hate the
franchise?
X-Men movies.
I hate you.
The latest X-Men
Wow.
movies have been bad.
Woo.
Yeah.
That got
I
dark.
just gotta say, the
Okay,
X-Men movies,
here's the
I
difference,
prefer
though.
the MCU.
Like, Liam, you're saying Dark Phoenix had bad moments, but it was a good film. I think
It
this
was
movie
enjoyable.
okay, this movie has good moments, but the problem with it is it's not a movie. It's not it is like a preview. It's not a movie. Dark Phoenix had bad moments, but I'll give it was a movie, but it still was less enjoyable to watch than this one.
I
Say
think
no.
Yousef has a point with that. No, Liam, Yousef has a point with that because I think that this film very much feels like a first draft that never got like rewritten. Again, I think those reshoots would have fixed that because you just like with a ton of movies like Zack Snyder, that's a reason to worry about Zack Snyder's Justice League because they haven't done the reshoots that they wanted to do, so that could feel a little bit disjointed. And I think that this film did feel disjointed because there wasn't really anything. There wasn't like a major urgency to the film. It was kind of like a lax, I think it's a watchable, enjoyable movie. I think it's solid at least, but like, I can agree that there's no through line.
I agree with that.
Release
It was
the boom cuts.
I don't.
There isn't a boom cut. This is all they have.
Okay.
I don't. I do not. I can't agree with that. I don't think reshoots would have fixed what was missing from this film. I think reshoots would have added to my problem with it.
I don't think so.
That
because
the
here's
first
the thing.
hour and 10 minutes of this film were boring. Nothing happened.
Because nothing
was
happened.
Too much talking. There was too much. Oh, there's a possible thing going to happen. There's possible scary things happening. Yeah, he might have added a bit more horror elements to it, which it so desperately needed, especially when you start the film off by watching the trailers of other horror films that are coming that actually show you scary things. Then you go into this and zero scary things happen.
But
nothing. A priest attacks someone in a shower. It's still not scary because they turn the steam on and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Like,
but even like some of the scary parts from the trailer, like the part with this poster, the part where she's sitting and all the hands grab her, that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
The part with the washing machine from the first trailer is barely in the movie. They cut right as it happens.
Suicide Squaded?
No, not really. No. Like I feel like there's like 3 deleted scenes at most.
I don't think so. I think because there had to be a complete. This movie feels incomplete. I think what happened was Fox watched the first cut. They were like, we don't like it. Either it was actually bad or it was too scary or whatever. And then they cut a bunch of stuff out. They said, here, you can go reshoot with this stuff. And they never did. So I think they were just like, let's release it without all that stuff. I think this movie had a lot of potential. I agree with Ben. It was very enjoyable. And if they had done the reshoots, it would have been, I think, quite a good movie. It's disappointing to not see that fully realized. Because every time something got good, it would just cut. It would abruptly end and you would move on to something else. I think the ending of the film also was stupid. It was like an anti-bullying like commercial of like, just say no and all your problems will go away. And that was really stupid. I think the idea of the film of training and observing new mutants because they're dangerous, because they don't know how to use their powers, was smart, and I like the thing that they said about how you don't know when like the X-Men first got their powers, who they hurt, how many people they hurt. I thought that was an interesting idea.
But that wasn't in this film.
It wasn't in this film. I know, that's what
So
I'm
they
saying.
said
But
it.
the
They said
idea
it.
of it,
But it wasn't there. So that doesn't
Yeah.
make this a good movie. And this
it
doesn't
doesn't.
make this a
No,
good
I
idea
know.
because they've said a good idea inside of the film.
No,
They
I
needed
know.
to take that idea and apply
It's
it.
show don't tell. I know. It when you're making a movie, it's show don't tell. I get that. I think what I'm saying is the idea of this movie is like if somebody else directed it, or if I don't know what the original cut looked like, but the idea of the film was clever, and I wish they would have realized it. And also, like with Tenet, for example, I watched that film. I didn't write notes, and when we shot the spoiler review with me and Liam, I could talk about that movie. I knew about moments. I wrote this review right after I saw New Mutants, and I've forgotten a lot of it because it just was not memorable. Nothing happened. It was just a bunch of people talking. Like there was something with a clock. I'm pretty sure there was almost a suicide, and there was a demon bear, and that was all I could remember from the film.
I will say I enjoyed watching the film. I enjoyed the experience of having. I think I will rewatch it at October. It'll go in that kind of collection for me. It's like a nice atmospheric, fun little time. But that's pretty much it. It's a fun little time. There's nothing really else there.
And I think it's forgettable not because the stuff that they were setting up necessarily was bad, but it's just the execution of you had something cool, but it just happened so quickly that it just doesn't have a chance to stick in your head.
What I wrote was the first hour and 10 minutes should have been the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The end should have been the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then the things that you're talking about that are sown in the beginning, they could have put them bits in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
for that middle bit. The what?
The what?
Spoilers.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute myself.
You're fine. No worries here.
People aren't gonna watch this movie.
It's for others. It's for others.
Yeah.
Cut me out.
People
I'll
listen
cut that
to
out.
us.
It's fine. But the thing that they were setting, the big reveal, kind of, they did not.
That should have been
the end.
The end.
Finale. Yeah.
That should have been the finale. It should have had the 20 minutes set up that took an hour and 10 minutes of my life. The final 20 minutes of that film should have been condensed to 10, 15 minutes. That fight shouldn't have lasted that long because nothing happened.
Yep.
Sounds like Artemis Fowl all over again. Like
no, it's not like
I wouldn't say it's as bad as Artemis Fowl. Artemis Fowl was this movie was incomplete. Artemis Fowl was just bad and choppy. You know what I mean? Like
this is coherent.
Yeah.
Where Artemis Fowl was a coherent section, then suddenly you would jump to something that there'd been no setup for. It was chopped and changed, and there was bits added and taken away that they shouldn't have done because they needed it for further on. Where this, everything's there, and there isn't anything that you miss.
Yeah.
There's nothing tying it all together.
But there's a lot of things that could have you could have taken out that would have left a good first 2/3 of the movie, giving you a better ending.
Or even if they wanted to take their time a little bit, I think this idea would have worked better as a mini series on Hulu or something, because it's so low budget and it doesn't warrant the big screen per se, because nothing happened. So I think
Literally
if this was the first 3 episodes of a mini series on Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever.
I will say this. I think your enjoyment of this film kind of relies on how much you love the X-Men, the universe, and the films as done by Fox.
But you can't really say that because I'm a massive fan of them, Ben.
Yeah.
And I'm hating this movie. I'm hating on it.
And I'm not a fan of them, and I liked it. Yeah. Because also, it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe. Sure, they throw out a couple names, but this could be anything. This could be in any
It does feel
world.
Slightly, very, 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 very slightly connected to Logan.
Logan and X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
very, very slightly.
Yeah.
It needed the threads connected more with Logan.
Yeah.
And less with the main franchise.
If you actually think about this film, it was supposed to come out after Logan. I think if this film had come out after Logan, with the reshoots necessary, tying it more into X-Men Apocalypse and Logan, I feel like we would be having a much different conversation. It's a shame that this film, so small and like insignificant, has been delayed for 2 years. It seriously does not need that.
Yeah.
On top of
I think
everything.
either way you look at it, this is Fox to blame, or 20th Century, whatever the hell they call themselves now. It's them to blame because, it's
I don't think it is because Josh Boone
listen,
wrote the script, and Josh Boone wanted these beginning bits. He wanted the atmospheric bits.
Okay, but if you wrote the script and you're a producer and you don't like it, why would you make it? Why would you greenlight it? Like
because they liked
so many
it.
films, but
they wanted reshoots, which they couldn't get because Disney wouldn't let them. Now that it's merged over, Disney wouldn't let them funnel any more money into it.
Yeah,
and they wanted it gone.
I get that. But the thing is, they've made so many movies that, especially in the X-Men world, that needed reshoots that are so bad and that completely, like Fantastic Four. I think Dark Phoenix had reshoots, didn't it? All these films.
Reshoots was a good part of that movie.
Yeah, like
Dark
reshoots are fine.
Like 2 months before the movie came out.
Exactly. Fox needs to stop doing that. Every single most X-Men films that they've made, they've cut the ending, they've changed the story, and it just does not work. So it's either their fault for chopping it up, and they should just let the director do their thing, or it's their fault for hiring people who are incompetent to tell these stories.
They've hired someone that was incompetent for this film.
Yeah.
Josh Boone has done some work. He's done The Fault in Our Stars.
Right, that doesn't mean
The Fault in Our Stars.
That doesn't make him a good blockbuster maker. He made a good movie of a crap book.
The Russo brothers came off of Community and did The Winter Soldier. I don't think,
but when you're making,
we're not saying it's because he made bad things before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he wasn't the right person for this job.
Exactly.
Because
Fede Alvarez could have killed this.
Is completely blind.
Yeah.
To anything that has happened outside, like within, like when he's being torn about this movie and things like that. Like, he's clearly completely blind to what he's actually made.
Exactly. And I think also when you're making a movie, it's not you jump from one movie to another and the studio has no idea about your intention. Like, you have to pitch, you have to do all this, you have to give your dailies. So the studio they're making the films, they know if this person's a right fit. That's why I think the Russo brothers worked, because they understood the source material. They probably gave an amazing pitch. They made great films, and that's how you level up. So it's not that he made The Fault in Our Stars. It's that you could tell he had bad judgment from the beginning, and I don't know why Fox didn't catch that and say, we're not going to give you this film.
Because looking at Fox's past, they don't catch the bad parts.
Exactly.
I will say this would be a rough cut of a movie with 3 weeks left to go in the editing room, and I would say, good job, but keep going. There's more to do.
Yeah.
How does it compare to something like Glass? Is it?
Well,
I
love both of those movies. Like, again, I really love New Mutants just for what it is, and I love Glass. I think Glass is phenomenal.
I think Glass is smarter than this.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen New Mutants, and I know Glass is smarter than that.
Yeah, this wants to be what Glass was. It wants to be that commentary.
Yeah.
But it's not smart enough to have the commentary.
Yeah.
All right, so rating. We still have another movie to get to.
Yeah, just before ratings, I want to touch on a couple things.
That part's being cut out.
Well, it's speaker view, so we're good. The acting, I like the acting for the most. I mean, the accents were crazy. I don't know, the Southern Charlie Heaton Southern accent, the
Maisie Williams
whatever the hell she was doing,
in and out of Scottish, and it was very, very distracting.
And even Anya Taylor-Joy, like, she was great in the film. I really loved her kind of bitchy attitude, and her powers were really, really dope. But her accent was all over the place. So that I think needed to be fixed. Charlie Heaton, I thought his power was really cool, and I think he sold that kind of tortured
Yes, he did.
thing. Yeah, I think that was good. Maisie Williams was fine. I will say I liked her LGBT relationship with the other
Danielle.
The first in any
Yeah.
superhero movie, and I think they deserve credit for that.
I forgot
do.
that we get lesbians.
Yeah, and they had good chemistry, but
They
I
did.
think Maisie Williams, her powers were just lame. Like she turns into a husky, big whoop.
I thought that
Like,
was good.
the
Look,
fact
again,
that she
I'm
turned
Like a
into
fake
a dog.
CGI husky, or they actually
No,
made
no.
a real husky?
No. They
a
just
dog.
had a literal husky running around the set.
I
There
thought
was
she
I-
was a ginger.
I was
All right.
mortified when I seen that.
We have another movie to get to.
I know.
So what are your
I just-
ratings?
Sorry.
Okay, one last thing. I'm so sorry. Just one last
Oh,
thing.
God.
The VFX for the film, I will tell them, was very good. I really liked Limbo. I thought that was well done. I liked the long, creepy white men. I thought they were
They had,
great.
like,
I
3 years
liked.
to render them now.
I know.
They
And the
had
demon bear.
render-
The demon bear looked really good, and the arm that Ilyana had was really cool.
Yeah.
So the VFX were good. I think the cinematography was good. It's just that they didn't do anything with that. Okay, I'm done now.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
4. Ben?
I'd go 7.5.
7.5 4 for Liam and Yousef. What's your number?
I'd give it. I give it a 6 because I liked.
Fresh
I
on
like-
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
So you give it
Because
a tomato.
I give it a
The Rotten
tomato.
Tomato score was ridiculous.
It was
22
too
I think
low.
you're giving it a pass.
Yeah. The reason I'm giving it that is because I see so much potential. It's just the inconsistencies. Like their looks throughout the film changed. There was a scene where Danny had a bleeding nose. They cut, she didn't have a bleeding nose, and they cut again, and she did have a bleeding nose. So the inconsistencies were all over the place. But I think there was a lot there that I liked. Josh Boone, though, he shot himself in both feet this weekend because
Liza
there was the
Minnelli lies.
whitewashing of Roberto, and then also the whole Storm thing. Like, why would you do that as your film is finally coming out?
Hold on, no, he didn't do the Storm thing. That was something that was like an op-ed that came out,
Oh,
and I
okay.
think that people kind of unfairly attacked that because I kind of like experimenting with superhero characters. I liked it
Yeah.
when Batman v Superman, and I'm like, that's an interesting
like
thing
that
to
idea.
do with Storm and Charles. I think that's a not smart, but I think it would have worked.
It was clever. I understand why Fox didn't do it because it would ruin the brand. But I would have liked to see not just Storm, but all of the X-Men kind of running this in kind of a sadistic way. I think
Yeah,
that would have been
The
cool.
reboot needed to happen, and it's a shame they didn't.
Yeah, but I
But then,
understand
like,
why they
is
did.
Is it Alexandra Shipp? Is it Halle
It
Berry?
would have been
Is it a
Alexander
different?
Shipp. It would have been Alexander Shipp.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
it would
if
have
like
been. It would have been a new cast.
wouldn't have
to
worked.
be
It couldn't have been because it was set now,
yeah.
not in the
No, I
90s.
thought it was set in the 90s. It felt like it
No.
was set in the...
No, it's now.
No, she had a
The
mobile
wardrobe
phone.
department was just really shitty.
Oh,
They-
you know, I
There
think
is
it
a scene
could've-
where he steals her touchscreen mobile phone and asks
Yeah.
for the passcode. That wasn't happening in the 90s.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. So I think it could have
Yeah.
been after, you know, in Days of Future Past, when Logan goes back to the X-Mansion at the very end. So that timeline is the timeline that Logan happens in. And I think that that's also the timeline that the New Mutants happens in. So it goes, end of X-Men Days of Future Past, the New Mutants Logan.
Oh hey, thanks for watching. And remember, full episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
With new episodes Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, links in the description box.
And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay caught up to date with the Council.
Boys, I'm excited.